Hi, Mark here, and I trust you're well. Welcome to this legacy recording of one of our live Lightroom support sessions. In this session, which was recorded in April 2022, we looked at sharing our images, specifically sharing our native RAW file and how we can do that and access that from any device in the world. Now, please remember, this is a legacy recording, so things have changed. It's being published to help you understand and think about your workflow, how you could use Classic and Lightroom. Now, if you'd like to come and join us on these live events, just check out my Eventbrite listing. Just visit lightroommark.com/Eventbrite and you'll see my upcoming events. Now, without any further ado, let's jump across to this legacy recording. And as I say, it was recorded in April 2022. Take care, stay safe, and happy photography. Okay, so we're going to look at using Classic and having access to our assets away from this computer. Okay, so for example, I know several of you have got motorhomes, and you may want the raw file, the DNG or the CR2 or the NEF file. You may want that raw file, not the smart preview. And we know what the smart preview is. It's what goes up into the cloud from Classic to the cloud so we can view it, which is a small raw file. Okay, we might want that master file. Okay, but we want to manage it in Classic. Okay, right, because Classic is our program that we use to keep all of our photographs and TIFF files and PSD files all in one place, and JPEGs and so on, all in one place. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's in preview. Okay, that's fine. You can see this as a preview.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've done you a lovely little infomercial of how the let's just hide this, get this out of the way for you. There we go. How what you've got, how it works. Okay, and because we are in the Western world, we work from the left to the right. Okay, so we're in Adobe Lightroom Classic. Yeah, that's where we start. That's our hub. Okay, and we can go off if we go top left hand. Above it, go up. We can go backwards and forwards from different apps. That's the icon for apps with Apple. So we can go backwards and forwards to different apps. So, for example, Photomatics, Infinity, any others? SnapBridge? No, not SnapBridge. Silver Effects Pro. HDR Stacker and so on. There's lots of different apps that we can leave Classic, do whatever we need to do. So there's a time-lapse program I use as well, and it brings it back into Classic. So this top left-hand corner, backwards and forwards from Classic. But we can do exactly the same. I'm now below Lightroom Classic icon. We can go backwards and forwards to Photoshop. Okay? All right, we all know that, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But we can also go backwards and forwards to Adobe Creative Cloud. Now, the majority of us will do that at the moment using smart previews. So we create a collection and we make it public, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, we make it public and it puts it in the cloud. Now, if it's not public, we can go and see it with our own credentials, our own login. We can see it on our phone, our laptop, our iPad, in the browser, but only we can see it. If we make it public, it becomes, I'm on the bottom arrow here now, it becomes accessible on the web, okay, to the public, okay? But depending on how we want to interact with our assets, and I'm going to call them assets for one word, that is our raw files, our JPEGs, our TIFF files, our Photoshop files. I'm going to call them assets, okay? we can use Lightroom Classic to manage as a file browser all our Photoshop files, our assets, and put them in the cloud. Okay. And then from the cloud, which is basically a hard drive. So Supeg, you've got that little hard drive. If you can imagine one of those, that's yours in the cloud. So that's at Adobe. You've got one of those in a little cupboard somewhere. This here in the middle, that's your hard drive. Okay. And you've got 20 gigabytes, which is enough for roughly, I'm going to say 800 pictures. Okay, you can have two different sizes. You can have 20 gigabyte, which is the standard, or you can pay a little bit more and have 1 terabyte, which is about 15,000 raw files if they're a 50 mega file, which is what I have. So we can upload our images via Classic as smart previews into the cloud. Okay, and then we can access them as smart previews across all our devices. However, if this location, this cloud location, that as you can see, it goes backwards and forwards to Classic, if we make that a folder in Classic, we can actually put our raw files in that folder. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the raw files go to that hard drive in the cloud. So our Photoshop files, and it doesn't do InDesign or Illustrator, Helen, I've tried it. It's because Lightroom Classic doesn't support those file formats. So you put your Photoshop file in the folder in Classic, it will sync to the cloud, and now on your phone using Photoshop Express, or your laptop or your iPad using Lightroom and the appropriate version of Photoshop, or using a web browser, using the web browser versions of Lightroom and Photoshop, you can access and edit and manipulate and update that asset file, that PSD file.
Sorry, do you
Sorry,
make
Bobby.
that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you make that folder in collections?
No.
No.
It's an actual drive. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute,
Okay.
Bobby. But it's an actual folder, just like a folder on your Synology or an external drive. It is a folder, and it's already on your computer, but you probably haven't got it in Classic.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So I'm going to show you where it is and show you where you might want to move it or add it.
Okay.
But once you've added it there, all you need to do is drag the file in there, and it's in the cloud. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to show you some things. Okay. So is everyone happy with that? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a yes from everybody. Joe?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a hard drive, your hard drive in the cloud, and you can put anything in there that you like. Videos, the lot. Okay. So if we go to our little Creative Cloud icon, which brings up the control panel, we get all the information, and this is my training one. So these are all the apps and so on, and files. So I can see the files, and there's different types of files. But if I click on the cloud, then the cog, you can see the location of where that drive is. This is where everything that's in the cloud is stored on this local computer. So in my case, it's on a drive called Images Lightroom Mark. Okay, so I'm going to go to a folder finder, and I'm going to go to the images drive, Lightroom Mark, and there it is, Adobe Creative Cloud. Okay, and there's my folders and files. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
This is my local copy of what is in my cloud drive. Okay, and it syncs to the cloud. Okay. But what we need to do, if we're going to keep all our assets, all our Photoshop files, and you don't have to put all of them in there. It might be just ones that are relevant to your Lightroom Classic workflow. Okay, this location needs to be in Classic. Okay, does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to open Classic. And this is my This is my local drive, okay? And this is my Creative Cloud drive, okay? And what I've done is I've gone click plus on the folders, add a folder, and I've gone and found that folder, and there it is, okay? And just press choose, and it brings it into Adobe Lightroom Classic, okay? And these are the files. So if I drill down, so we've got Creative Cloud, Adobe, Photoshop, framed, okay? So if I go back to a finder, can we see on Lightroom, it says Creative Cloud on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is this Creative Cloud here, okay? And then it says Adobe. So I click on Adobe. I then go Photoshop, 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 framed, framed, and there is the file. And you can see there's the file, there's the file. So one's in an Explorer, but one is in Classic. Okay, all it is like it's like a different picture frame. It's a different user interface showing you the same information. So now the reason why I do it, I have these templates, and this is how I share my images on social media. I have this white border with a drop shadow, with a title, and with my logo. Okay, but this is a PSD file. Okay, it's a Photoshop document. Okay, Lightroom can't edit them. But if I go Command E, edit original document, Command E is edit in your preferred, which is Photoshop. So I press edit. It opens that file in Photoshop. Okay, we all know that, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it preserves the layers. Can you look down the bottom left-hand corner? I've got all these layers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got my background. I've got the image here. Okay, I've got the effect. So if I double click on the effect, so it's got a drop shadow of 100% opacity, fill of 100%. Oh, no, sorry, wrong. I didn't click on the drop shadow. Opacity 23, direction, that's the direction of the shadow, 80, size 60, how deep is the shadow? It's being preserved, okay? And then I've got my logo. So I click on the logo, change the tool. I can move the logo if I wish, the size, etc., and so on. And I've got this text file. So I can now click on the text file using the text tool. Okay, select all, Scotland, capitals. Okay, put some space. Well, I don't need to put spaces in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but now I want to edit this with a different picture. Okay, so let's go back to Classic and let's just choose a picture. Okay, so let's just choose. I know somebody doesn't like all these images of cats, but we're going to go Command E. I'm going to use the Lightroom adjusted copy. Go edit. Okay, there's my file. I'm going to go select all, which is Command A or Control A, Command C, or I could go edit and copy. And then I'm going to paste it as a new layer on this document and then just resize it. So I'm just dragging on the anchor points. These little squares are anchor points. I'm just dragging on, and I'm going to put it over the top. So it fits over the top. There we go. Going to reorder it. So I'll move my layer. So I'm going to have my layer. I've put it on top. Whatever's on top, I'm going to drag the effect, turn the bottom one off. So I've now turned off the Scotland image. I'm going to click on my text logo or layer text, cats. And there we go. Okay. It's a bit quick, wasn't it?
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get that, everyone, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I've now created that, and I would now go File, export as a PNG, and then I'll just put it on my desktop. Okay, and that's done that. So there's the image. Oops. Open with preview. And there's the image. That image is exactly the right shape and size for Photoshop. For Facebook. Okay, because it's my Facebook landscape size. I've gone away and I found out the size of all the documents that optimally will give me the right size for Facebook. Okay, so I've got this blend. Okay. Oh, somebody's saying hello. So does that make sense?
Does.
Was it too quick?
No.
The end bit was.
Sorry, the end bit.
Yeah, where you got it back into Photoshop.
Sorry, what do you mean when I got?
When you got the cat and then put it back into, must be the cloud. The original.
I haven't done that bit yet.
All right, then before.
All I've done is I've saved it, I've exported it.
That's it.
And create. All you do is go File, Export, and you go Export as PNG, and it gives you because that file is the right width, the right height, the right DPI. I've done that in a template. Okay. And the aspect ratio of the document in the middle, the picture, is correct for full frame. I can just drop them on top. But the point being is they are the right size and so on, etc. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me just show you the last bit of this little bit of workflow. And then if we need to go back over it, we can. So if I now go File, Save, what's going to happen, everyone?
File, Save.
It's a Photoshop document that is in Photoshop, but it's come from Classic, and I've gone Saved.
Going to go back to Classic.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done. So if I go back to Classic, okay, and if I go back to social media, there it is. There's the picture. Okay, it's been preserved all the way through. So there's no hunting for what folder it is, what's this, and so on. It's in a folder within Lightroom Classic. All I've got to do is open two documents. This one here is for Instagram landscape. This one here is for Twitter landscape. Okay, this white area is the right size for Twitter. And then I've worked it all out and put some grid lines in and so on. And these, if I open that, I go Command E, open original document. It'll open it in Photoshop. There we go. There's the document. Okay, that's exactly the right size for landscape for Twitter. And I just paste the image in there. Okay. Right. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Any questions about that? It's 20 minutes it's taken. It's quite quick. Do you want me to go back through it again?
Yes, please.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point being, the Photoshop file is in Classic. Okay, so it's not, I'm not using Bridge or Finder or Explorer to go and find the images. I'm working a little bit smarter in keeping things all together. That's this point of what we're looking at. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's close that. Minimize that. Share screen again. So I'm going to take the Twitter one now. So Command E. Edit original, because the original is a PSD file format. Okay, that's going to open it in Photoshop. Just going to make it a bit bigger. There we go. And it's, oops, too big for the screen. There we go, that's better. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Classic. I'm going to choose a non-cat image. So let's use this image here. I'm going to go Command E. I will edit, because I've edited these images, or in my normal workflow, I would edit these images. So I don't want the original in this case. I want the edited image or the copy of it as a Lightroom edited image. So what I've done in Lightroom. So there's my image. Command A or Control A to select all, or you can go up to Edit, Select All. Where is it? Image, Edit. It's probably grayed out now. But you go Select All, then Command C or Edit and Copy. So I've copied this image, and now I'm going to paste that image. But because the size of the documents are different, it's a lot bigger. I could resize this document here, but I don't know the size that I actually finally want it. So I cut and paste. I hit on the transform, the move tool, and I just hit on the little anchor points. I click and hold, and I just drag the middle one down, or I could use a corner one. So it's roughly the right size. Stick it in the corner, and it will snap into that corner. If you go too fast, it will go past it, but it will like bump up into the top corner of the one underneath. Then just take the other corner, drag it across, and because it's a full frame image, it fits exactly in the space. Press tick, okay, that's done. I then come to my layer panel, and I put them in the right order. So the layer at the top is what's being presented to me at the top. So I want my logo to show. So I want my logo above it. There's my logo now. And I now want the drop shadow, the effects. If you look at layer number 3, second from the bottom on the bottom right hand corner, that is on a different layer. Okay. All right. I want it on my layer. So I'm just going to click on the word layer, hold my mouse and drag it to my next layer. And there we go. I've got my drop shadow around it. Just turn layer 3 off, which is the old picture. And there we go. Okay. But I've done all this. I've kept all my images that I'm going to share on social media look the same format across all my platforms. Okay. And I've started to do a lot more of this. But I hit a snag. What's the snag? I've been trying to practice this for the last 2 months.
Going to tell us?
I'll tell you, but just seeing if somebody can guess what the next bit is, the snag that I've found. We live in a mobile world, don't we? We want to take a picture, and we want instant gratification, and we want to share that picture immediately. Hello, my best friend, I'm in such and such, and here's a picture. But it doesn't necessarily have the right size, or you want to put your logo on it and so on, but you haven't got that file with you. You can't, until what I'm going to show you, you can't have that file with you. Okay?
So could you do that on your phone then?
Yep. Yep. Going to show you on the iPad or on a web browser. Okay? So there's a couple of little processes we have to do, but I will show you these, go step by step, okay? And we'll revert back to the document. Okie dokie. So we have this location, this Creative Cloud location here, which I still got it open. Okay, that Creative Cloud location is this location in the middle, this cloud location, and it's talking backwards and forwards here. Okay, to classic. So it's actually more to the left of the cloud, but it's a duplicate of what's in the cloud. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything in here is in my cloud documents. All right. So I'm now going to use my Adobe Creative Cloud app, which is this little app up here, this little cloud in the top right hand corner. I think on Windows you have it in your little task panel, or you can put it on your dock on the bottom. Okay, and if you go click on my files, okay, you start having to look at your files. Okay, you can click on the cloud at the top right hand corner and click on Creative Cloud on the web. Now, synced files. What's synced file? This is the cloud. Okay. So what I'm looking at here on a web browser, oops, wrong picture. There we go. What I'm looking at here with the in the middle with the cloud, this creative icon here. Okay. This is this location. I'm on a web browser, assets, adobe.com. Okay. And if I drill down, so if I go into my Adobe folder, so if I go back to Classic for you and show you, Creative Cloud, Adobe. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Let's try and make it into two so you can see side by side. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that. Right, there we go. That's a bit better for you, isn't it? Okay, so look, so let's go back to sync folders. Sync folders or files, Adobe, Adobe. Okay, then I've got my assets, which is here. It's not in the, put it in the right order, alphabetical order. There we go. Got assets, assets. Lightroom Classic, Lightroom Classic. Got nothing in there. So if I drill into Lightroom Classic, should say it's empty. There you go. It's empty. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Go to Photoshop. Photoshop. So I'll go back up one. Wait for the web. There we go. Photoshop. I should have two folders. One, two, framed and social media. Okay. So if I clicked on the, I'll click on the social media because they're low res ones. That framed one is a massive, great big file. Okay, click on social media. Okay, got Facebook. So if I expand this little triangle, Facebook. So you can see it's got this PSD file in there. Okay. So I have this file with me wherever I am. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. However, this is a synced file. It is not a cloud file or a cloud document. Here is a cloud document. Okay. It's a Photoshop DC, PSDC cloud. So it's a Photoshop document cloud. Okay. All right. Can you see where my mouse is? I'm hovering around PSD. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we have a little step. Because when this was all created 5 years ago, we weren't expecting to use web browsers. We weren't expecting to use it on a tablet and so on, etc. And now computers have got a lot faster. They've had to retrospectively apply things. So we have our synced files, but we also have what we call cloud documents. Okay, so we have one little manual step we have to do. And once we've done it once, that's it. And we have to do it once for every file. Okay. So there's my file. Okay. I go File, Save a Copy. And down the bottom, it says Save to Cloud Documents. Click that. It'll then brings up the cloud interface. Okay. So there's the file that's already in there. I'm going to save a copy of the Twitter one. So I'm just going to save. And that's now sent it to the Creative Cloud. So if I refresh, wait a few seconds, it needs to sync. There we go. There it is. There is my Twitter document. Okay. There is my Photoshop file with, we just wait for it to load, the top right-hand corner, my layers. Look, my layers. Oops, yeah. All right. This is on a web browser. I can edit everything I want here on a web browser. Okay. Yeah. But what we can do, you can open it directly as to your desktop and things like that, is we can open it on your laptop. So you're now, like David is, sitting in his caravan in the Ilminster. He's got that file. He sent it as a creative document, a cloud document, and he now can edit it on his iPad. But he can take a photograph and paste it in and share it in the same format that he would want to share in Lightroom or on social media. Yeah? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody going to say something then? Helen? No?
Yeah.
No? Okay, so let's have a go. I'm doing this live for you, okay? So share. I'll share my screen. Start broadcast with Zoom. All right. Get rid of that. So I'm going to go to Photoshop. This is on my iPad. This could be on a laptop. It's now bringing down the file. So we just wait for it to open. Depends how quickly your connection is. Depends on, should have done this earlier. Talk amongst yourselves. But it depends how good connection is, how big the file is, and so on. Okay. Needed that. 20%. Boom. There comes the other file. Okay. So it's adding these are cloud documents. Okay. They're not sync files. But I can add it, I can edit, and I can adjust the data. And then I can export it and share it on social media. So, come on. Let's should have opened it earlier. Anyone got any questions while this is doing this?
No.
You're talking about sizes for different things.
Yeah.
So if I want to send a picture via my computer to you, say, what is a right size for that? Okay,
so if you're using Creative Cloud and you're going to use a smart preview, so you're just sharing the URL, just like you'd make a collection and then share it in the cloud and send me the link. Adobe will do everything for you. You don't have to worry about a thing. You send up the file, it does it all for you because you don't know what I'm viewing the document on. A phone will be a different size document to an iPad, to this monitor. Adobe does it all for you.
Yeah, but I won't be using my phone. I would always be using my camera, downloading into Classic.
Fine. Okay. So all you got to do is add it to a collection, share the collection. Classic will send the smart preview, which is around about 2 megabytes, to the cloud. And whatever I'm viewing it on, Adobe looks at it and says, well, I'm not going to send you the 2 meg file. I'm only going to send you a half meg file because that's all I need for what I'm viewing it on.
Isn't that like when we send you photos for the competitions?
Yeah.
It organises it.
And this is what Amazon is very good at, and the BBC and Netflix all use Amazon.
Yeah.
The iPlayer, when you look at the BBC iPlayer, it doesn't give you a 4K file, 4K TV. It doesn't give you a 4K file for every time. It gives you the relevant size picture for the product that you're viewing it on. Okay? You imagine how many people are using the iPlayer at the same time. What resources the internet would have to have if the BBC iPlayer gave everyone a 4K picture. It's a film is 2 gigabytes. The motorway would soon stop. But the device doesn't support 4K, doesn't support HD. So why would they give it to you? They give you the appropriate size document for the device that you're viewing it on. Okay? Which is what we call it, a smart preview.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So let's go back to screen. Start broadcast. There we go. Okay, so I've now got Photoshop here with that photograph in, and I can click on anything, the layer, oops, click on the layer. Should use my pencil really. Okay. Get you out of the way. There we go. So here's my layers. So I've clicked top right hand corner, those two little squares, that's my layers. And I can click on the layer and I can edit it. Okay. So I can lock the aspect ratio, I can rename the layer, I can edit the layer, I can do whatever I want to do to it. Okay, so I'll go text tool. Oops. Funny now. Click the right layer. Come on. It's a bit slow for me tonight. Come on, edit. There we go. Okay, so there's the font, there's the layer type, there's all the information about the layer and everything that I want to do within the layer. Okay, so I can change the text if I wish. I just click on it. Come on, highlight it. There we go. All right, so I can click in there. I can now change that. Okay. Oops, having fun here. There we go.
Are there any on it?
Now see what I'm doing.
Stay it.
Come on. Just get rid of all the junk that's in there. Okay, so now type Scotland. There we go. Resize it. Okay, press done. Now move it. Let's pinch back in. So I've just changed Scotland. Okay. Right. But now I can export this. Quick export. Where do I want to put it? So I want to send it as an email. I want to put it on Facebook. Click on Facebook. I can now share that on Facebook. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Carry on.
Yeah. So I can now type my text in and away I go. Okay. So disregard. But the point being, what I'm trying to show you is that I've got this PSD document with me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can change the photograph.
Yeah.
Right. I can add a new photograph in there. I can actually go into Lightroom if I've got files in Lightroom. So import photo. Okay. I can take a photograph and import them, but they're all in the cloud. So this is something that's on your phone, for example. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken a picture with this and I've added it in. If I press home, I should be able to go into, it's going to let me go into it. No, because there's nothing in my Lightroom. That's why. There's nothing in my Lightroom. Okay. So if I add something to my Lightroom, I go, let's go out here. I add something into my Lightroom and it's on a file. Put that in Lightroom. Right, so what I'm now doing is I'm just going to create a file in Lightroom. There we go. That should then hopefully come up. That's not allowing me to do it today. Import photos, files, Photoshop. See this? Can you see on the screen here?
Mm-hmm. This
is my Creative Cloud. Okay, so there's my Lightroom Classic. There's a picture from Zoom. Okay, so my locations. So this is on my iPad. Okay, so these are pictures on my iPad. I can access them all. This is my iCloud account. iDrive. Okay, got some downloads, got some tags, recents. I can connect to a server. So you Tony, you were talking about using your
laptop
technology, wasn't you, with the web?
Yeah.
You put your details in there, and you can Photoshop can access your Synology. Okay, so anything on your Synology can come up in here. So you type your details in there, whatever your server IP addresses and so on, and your credentials. It'll ask you for a username and password, and you can access it via the web, all within Photoshop on your iPad.
That's fair enough. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the point being, what I'm showing you is I have access to all these files from Classic in the cloud. Okay. So I can add them at a later date. I can change this and share this image in the cloud. Okay. So I've gone away. I haven't got, like David is at the moment, I'm away. I can add the photograph. Okay. So I can add a photo. So we can put this photo here. Okay. There's the photo. Okay. I can resize it. Okay. So there we go. Resize the photo. All I did was click on photo. Go done. All right. Change the order of the layers. Right, let's drag that. Drag that down. Okay, there we go. All right. Should be able to turn that layer off. So now, if I then go back into there, press the text tool. All right. Now type Minehead. Okay. Press done. Export. Okay, just go quick export for this time. And I'm going to save the image, save the file. So I can print it, save the image. There we go. I've saved the image. Now, if I go to my here, and it should have saved it. There it is. There's what I've just created in Photoshop. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We'll have to go back through it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're recording.
Yeah. But I've stopped sharing. Okay. So what I've done is I've taken a template or a Photoshop document. I've put it into the cloud. And because it's in the cloud, I've got to access it on my iPad. So I've taken a photograph either with my camera or my phone. Yeah. I've then imported it into that document and placed it on top, like cut and pasting it on top of the document, and made that new picture again. But I'm not sitting at this computer. I'm doing this on my iPad in the caravan or in the hotel room or on the cruise liner. Yeah, I've got this template how I want to, and it can be anything. Yeah, I'm just showing you this template, but it could be a document that you're working on. You could be doing a montage. You might be doing a big print as a birthday present for somebody in 12 months' time. Yeah, or somebody's birthday tomorrow or whenever, and so on. Yeah. You could be doing these montages and you've taken a photograph and you want to add that photograph to the montage. Yeah.
Yeah.
No? But all your main documents are sitting at home on the computer at home. But if you've uploaded it, I bet you, Joe, that ship you're going to go on, if it's a big ship, it might have a photo lab on there to print photographs out. If you had something like a montage, a design that you liked, you could put that in the cloud. And as you're going around, taking your photos of your trips, you could be adding these to this montage of pictures, little postcard pictures.
Yeah.
And then you could go down to the lab and say, here's my JPEG file. can I email it to you or whatever? Could you print it out for me, please? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The world, it's endless what you can do. It's what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
I just skim the top and say, well, actually, I've taken this photograph with my phone. I want to share it on social media now, not tomorrow morning, because I've done a little video saying at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's my camera, there's my walking boots, there's my monopods, and I've done a live Facebook at the boot of the car. Where am I going to? Nobody knows. And then I drive off and I get to where we're going and, do another little video. And I want to share a photograph of where I was. Okay. So what I did, I got lazy. This is how we do. This is, what we do at the moment. We'll go back on there. So what I did was, just like we normally do, is I share this photograph. Okay. And I just went click with my phone, but you can see it's the wrong size, because if I click on it, my logo's at the bottom. Half the picture's being chopped off because the photograph is the wrong size. Now, if I click on it, there's more cloud at the top of the image. There's more at the bottom of the image. The photograph is the wrong size for Facebook. Okay. But if I go into one of my other pages, can't find it. There. Okay, so there's one again here today I did. It's just a photograph. Okay. Video. But here we go. So this is how I've started to do it. And they all look so, but it's the right size for Facebook. And if you want to click on it, you can click on it and see it even bigger. Okay, but the whole picture's there for how I want to. But then I just shared this from location. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to be a little bit more uniform in my presentation. Looks a little bit better. But I could have done this picture in the same format as this, because I had everything in the cloud on my phone. Okay. Or I could have done it on a laptop in my caravan, or in the hotel room, or on the cruise. Okay. Point being is the files are in the cloud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And you're paying for this already. You're paying for this. I'm not saying you have to use it, but you're paying for it. Okay.
Yeah. All I'm saying, I've just been called away, Mark. So
yeah, sure.
I've just come back, and then you started on about size again, which I asked you before.
Yeah, I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you now to answer Tony's question. You've all got, and you're all paying for it, but I bet you most of you don't use it. Okay, so let me just bring up the web page. Okay, and you'll need a pen and paper, I expect, to write down the URL.
URL.
All right, hang on, I've got to find it. I can't remember everything off the top of my head.
Why not?
Because I'm old and grumpy. Okay.
No, you're not that old. You're not that old. You've got a long way to go yet.
Okay. Express.
You might be grumpy though.
Yeah. All right. Okay. The website address is express.adobe.com. Express.adobe. Okay. So let me give you some background history. Okay. As functionality and as we want to use it, as the world changes regarding technology, because Lightroom used to be called Lightroom CC, Creative Cloud. Okay, that's this web version. But they then made it just called Lightroom and Lightroom Classic. So they've tried that. And there was a version of Photoshop called Photoshop Express. But they mothballed it, they archived it. Okay, you can still probably get a copy on eBay or something like that, and it's a legacy product, and it was a slimmed down version of Photoshop, real slimmed down version. Lots of things you couldn't do in it and so on. and they've repackaged the name Express. And now, because cloud computing is more powerful and available to everybody rather than just big corporations, they've brought back this terminology. Well, it used to be called Spark. That's what it was, Shark and Spark and something else. Now it's called Express. So what they've done is they've taken the old Photoshop technology and put it in the cloud. Okay, so express.adobe.com. Okay, you'll need your user login and email address and password. And you get this wonderful place of making posters and Instagram posts and videos and so on. And here's some of my projects and my Lightroom stuff, so I don't mind sharing this. So these are just infomercials and logos and so on. And this is a slimmed down version of Photoshop. Okay, so we click on this project here of mine at the moment, and I will get to answer Tony's question. But it's basically, it's this Photoshop, okay, in the cloud. So the assets are being loaded. There's the photograph. There's a text box with text in it, logos, colors. You can change all this. You can do anything you want. And the thing that you're on about, Tony, we click on the right-hand side, resize. And it's got all the sizes for all the documents, the generic documents in the cloud. Okay. So,
yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So you want to know what a Facebook post is for a picture. It's 1,200 by 626 pixels wide.
No, I must admit, I use all mine that I put on internet, Facebook, or whatever, with the shortest size, 700.
Yeah.
And I can do it longer or wider or whatever.
Yeah.
That one seems to be, and it's a safe one because any one of your pictures are more or less unprintable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Standard size, 700 on the shortest side.
And that's fine if that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. That's fine. Yeah. That is the size that going down that side there, or if you create a new document, it'll say, what do you want to create? And it will tell you all the sizes for all the posts. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. And the reason why is they adjust it their end for the viewing device. If you give it to them at 700 and somebody's looking at it on a web page, it'll all be bitty and so on, etc. You know, a big screen like this, it'll all be pixelated, etc. Where at the size they've asked, their algorithms in the background and their servers will repopulate the pixel. What do they call it? Scalable, rescaling or upscaling the image. So by giving it to them in the format they want, it presents it nice, neat, and tidy. The image isn't cut off and like it was on my picture that I did.
But you're saying that if it's a larger size, they could actually take it and use it and print it.
Don't put it on the web. You won't be able to print it because it's only 72 dots per inch. If you do print it, it'll only be like that big.
Yeah.
Where a print is 300 and it's only a third of the space. So if we take let's do a real life Photoshop. So what's the size of this image? Canvas. Let's just do this canvas. Canvas is pixels 1,200. So let's go a new image, 1,200. 1,200 pixels at 300 gives me a document. Okay, so gives me a document of 4 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I change it to that, 72, change that to 1,200 pixels, 1,200, 72, gives me in inches, 1.6 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I gave them the image at 1200 pixels at 72 dots per inch. Okay, the most they'll get is a 4-inch print out of it.
Okay, that's fine.
But it's if that's what you want to do, 700. Yeah, no, I've got no right to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So, but point of today is putting up those Photoshop files into the cloud as cloud documents. You access them wherever you are, and you can share your logo, your branded pictures, you drop shadows and so wherever you are using whatever device.
Well, Mark, if possible,
yep,
and I can get on board, I might even send you one from Ireland.
Yeah, brilliant. Do that. Do that. Stick it up in the Photo Club web Facebook page.
I'll try and do that while we're away.
Yeah, you can, and you can type on. Yeah, you see all these pictures, these infomercial pictures. Okay, you see all these. Let's see if I can show you something. Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. So, share. Right, I'm going to create a new document. So let's have a look now. Let's go projects, and then we go plus create, and I'm going to create a new Facebook post picture. Okay. So I'm going to create a new post. I don't. Do I want any of these? See, I've got all these templates I can use. Okay, so if I want a style or something, don't want any of those. So I'm just going to give me a new, there we go, a new document, okay? All right, but I want to add a photograph. So I go photographs. If I click on the dots, go to my Lightroom. This is Lightroom, okay? It's currently got no images. Should have, let's have a look. No, because they're not in the cloud. Okay, so let's just put this image in the cloud. So let this image sync. There we go, it's syncing. You can see top right hand corner up here. If I move you out of the way, it's syncing in the cloud. Okay, 12 meg file. It shouldn't take too long, so it'll only do a smart preview. Okay, so let's come out of there. Let's go back in again. Let's try again. Lightroom. No, not yet. Go back, see where we got to. Do we all know how to access your Lightroom images in the cloud?
No, not there at the moment.
Okay, so lightroom.adobe.com.
Right.
Okay. This is your mobile phone in the cloud. There is that collection. Lightroom.adobe.com. Okay, you just sync it, you just log in. I'm already logged in. But this is your phone. This is your iPad. This is your laptop, Lightroom in the app. And here comes the picture. Okay, let's just refresh it again. There we go. There's the picture. I've just synced from Classic. So if I go back to this Facebook document, and if I want to go add a photograph, Lightroom, oh, shock. There's the photograph. And there's the picture. And now I can make a montage up if I want. Put that there. Okay. And it's low res at the moment because it's still syncing. Okay. But I can do, put some text in here. Oops, text. Like that. Add some text. Happy days on Xmas. Okay. Line in there. There we go. I can move this around. Put that somewhere there. Get you out of the way. Close there. Make it a bit smaller. There we go. So I've just made that. This has come from Classic. This image has come from Classic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That document, that asset that I've just made there is the right size for Facebook. Okay. And when I go download as a JPEG, it'll give me exactly the right size for Facebook. So when somebody else looks at it, and bearing in mind, you don't know what phone they've got, whether they're viewing it on an iPad, whether they're looking on a web browser, Facebook knows it's exactly the right size, and they will present it exactly so it's as you have done it like that to the to whoever the viewer is. Now, the great thing about this is, and you're paying for all this already, okay? If you go to resize, and you want, let's say you've got a Twitter account. Twitter, it's a different size of paper or different size. If you look, the picture is different size. Now it's got this bit at the bottom. And now I drag it out, move this, and now that's ready for Twitter. And whatever devices people use on Twitter, it will reshape it for their devices because I've presented it to Twitter in my tweet as the correct size. And same if you use Instagram. So if I go to Instagram, find an Instagram template. There we go. Instagram landscape. Let's make it a bit smaller so we can all see it. There we go.
And you add templates of different places.
Well, you can create anything you want. There's templates already made. These are templates that are made.
Yeah.
Okay. This is all in the cloud, and you can access all of this from Classic.
Right.
Okay, so you can put all your pictures in here from Classic. Okay, so you create a document, and you click, and you go and find your images either in your libraries or in Lightroom or wherever you want to find whatever you want to do. Or you can buy templates. There are really some complicated templates that you can buy. So if you want a notice board or something or whatever. A note to go on, on your front door, Mr. Parcel Force Man, please leave around the corner. You can design it all in here, and you're paying for all this. This is all free, and you get free images as well, and so on. Glamping. How long would it take me? Years. Go on, load. How long would it take me to design something like that? Years. I haven't got the artist, but you can click in here and you can change that picture. Okay, so what picture will I change it to?
Yours.
Sorry?
Your picture.
Well, actually, what I can do for ease, I'm just going to move it back for a second. Okay, so I highlight it, so it's got the square around it. Go replace. Right, and now I go to my Lightroom. I select the image. There we go, it's replaced the image. And now I drag the image out. All right, and then I send back. So let's send it back. Keep sending it back. Send it right back. There we go. All right. And there we go. Well, that's a bit up the top there, but there we go. Okay. Right, so I've just replaced that image. Yeah. So I'm using the template and changing things. You're paying for all of this in the cloud. But the point being, bringing it back, it all can start from Classic. Using Lightroom, which is Classic in the cloud, putting your file in there, the raw file. Therefore, you've got all your assets or your layers. You can then edit them wherever you are.
That photo in the lime kiln.
Yeah.
Did you take that into a collection first before you moved it? Yeah. Okay.
So there's different ways of doing different things. So what I've just showed you there, you would put into a collection, put it into the cloud. So you tick the little squiggle, and then on Express, okay, you get access to all of that. Okay, if you want the full file, this is the difference. If you want the full file to create a big print or something, you have to put it in your cloud documents. Okay, which is File, Save in Photoshop. Down the bottom, put it as a save as a cloud document. Okay, they will tidy that up in future. Okay, and the first time you probably do that, it comes up with a big banner trying to sell you, put it in the cloud, put it in the cloud, put it in the cloud, because what do they want you to do?
Give them money.
Yeah, that's it. Well done, David. They want you to fill up your cloud and sign up for the 1 terabyte version at another £8, £9 a month. Okay. But you've got the point being, you can manage your assets, your Photoshop TIFF files in Classic that are relevant to your images, and you can access them wherever you want to access them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So we can all work away from home. We can all share our pictures on holiday in the format we want to. We can all be creative wherever we are. We don't need to be sitting in front of this computer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did we grasp that?
Some of it. Just have to rewind.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I
Up to
understand
the
that.
beginning again.
I understand that. So having things like Apple Pencils that are charged help.
Got your teeth right.
Okay. So things like that and so on. So I'm going to show you a little trick in Lightroom. Customer, let's Lightroom Classic. This is a customer phoned me the other week, and basically they wanted a new picture, but they wanted a landscape image. And I while I was talking to them on the phone, I looked at the folder and I went, 15,824 images or whatever it was. It was 15,000 something. Have I got to scroll through all these pictures to find a landscape one that I've never published before or edited or anything? There's got to be a smarter way to find the aspect ratio of an image. Never done that before in my life. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you several ways. So go to folders. I'm going to click on my training. So there's all my pictures. And I just want to find my portrait images. Anyone got any ideas before I start?
Press P.
Press P. No, P's for pick, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So metadata. And across this bar where it says library filter, you can click on the bar and it gives you all the searchable fields, all the metadata. Yeah, metadata and IPTC fields that you can search on. And if you come back down to one, it says aspect ratio. Okay. And I think I said to somebody the other day when I touched on this in conversation with them, it's the last one on it's the last line in the last paragraph of your 25-page mobile phone contract is the bit that you want. Anyway, so it's aspect ratio. You click on aspect ratio, and now it comes up with portrait. I've got 61 portrait images, and look, they're all portrait.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if I click on landscape, they're all landscape. Oh my God. And I wanted a square picture. And there's my one square picture. So I then took it one stage further. So who's going to steal the thunder?
A keyword or something? Or
Sorry, Helen?
a keyword that you were...
Yeah. What else though? Come on. You started the ball rolling, Sue?
That you hadn't manipulated as well, or sold.
Yeah. Something I haven't edited. So I created a smart collection. Okay. So this is what I did. I pressed the plus, smart collection, and I called it portrait. And this one, I'm going to call it cats. Okay. And I want them all to apply. So firstly, it's a picked image. So it's flagged plus. And it's going to be a color label of let's say yellow, plus a keyword, metadata other, keywords, contains cat, okay, plus, here's the punchline, other metadata, size. See, look, now we've got more information here in Smart Collection. Look, we've got long edge uncropped, short edge cropped, width, but I want aspect ratio is portrait. Okay, press create. And there isn't any. So let's go and make one that to show you. Keywords. No. Keywords. Okay, have I got one with cats in it? I bet you I haven't. Bloody well, I haven't, have I? Okay, I haven't. But anyway, so we said pick and we said yellow, didn't we? Okay, so this has got a keyword of cat, I think.
It's cows anyway. Begins with
yeah, I know, it doesn't matter what it is. That one's got a keyword of cat. So we're going to pick and 6, which is yellow. Okay, 7. So it was yellow, wasn't it? 7. So it's picking, yeah, it's got a keyword of cat. So if I now go to the Smart Collection, right, what was it? Pick, flagged, keyword, and portrait. Oh, it's not portrait, that's why. Yeah, that's not right. So let's go back. Let's just find an image. Let's make a cat. So it was portrait, wasn't it? So let's go metadata, aspect ratio, portrait, wasn't it? Portrait. Find one of a cat. If we have one, I bet we haven't got one, but we'll make one. We'll make this one as a cat. So we'll put a keyword in there as cat, a keyword cat. So I'm going to pick that, and it's 7 for yellow. Go to my collection. There's my image. Okay, the Smart Collection found it's yellow. Okay, or I could put not edited. Okay, all right. So whatever this rule was, but it was the aspect ratio. Whatever we put in here, it meets this, and I found it. So I just created a Smart Collection of images. I didn't want images not edited because that would be loads of images I've not looked at. So it's images that were yellow or red. So I created 2 smart, one said red, one said yellow. They were flagged, had cat, whatever it was as the keyword, and they were portrait. And I created 2 Smart Collections, and I had 60 odd images in a few seconds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I never knew that. Never knew that. Didn't know aspect ratio was a searchable term. So yeah, so we learn something every day. And I was in a evangelist, a Lightroom trainer Zoom the week, and I found something I wish I'd known years ago. But that's years and years ago. And actually, you'll remember how to import. Okay, so there's a little teaser. I've just done a quick way of not blowing everything out the window, but I just found they were showing 12 Julian Kosk's 12 favorite hidden secrets. Hidden secrets is what she called it. I went, hidden secrets? What's she on about hidden secrets? But her favorite things that people don't use or know that they're there, because they're a tiny little thing, or you press the key or whatever. And she did an hour's presentation on these 12 things. And one of them was an import thing. It blew my mind. I went, friggin' hell. It was just that little step, and I'm going to show you next week. So that little step on what I already do. I went, thank you. You just saved me a ton of time. But there we go. So, have you found that interesting, or something you didn't know, or yeah? Okay. Anyone got any light questions?
Pardon?
Any Lightroom questions? Anything you got a problem with? Anything you need a hand with?
You know when you I'm starting to back my stuff up to a big hard drive now.
Yep.
When you do your Lightroom catalog, the backup of it,
yep.
Is it's also, it seems to, when I've looked at them, every time you do it, it does it in another little folder, and
yep.
Yeah. So what do you just keep copying them across, or?
Okay, so for speed of doing the backup, your computer doing the backup, I put it onto a folder onto my desktop. Okay. I've got thousands of images in mine. It used to take 20, 30 minutes, but now it takes about 5 minutes. So the read-write speed onto your desktop or your internal drive of your machine is a lot quicker. So you go backup once a week and put that backup onto an external drive. But when you're saving all that amount of data to an external drive, it takes ages because of the speed of the drive and going down a cable. So what I do is my location is either on my desktop or the internal drive, and then I copy it or move it to that external drive once it's done. Okay. Yeah. And then I personally, you wouldn't need to do this, I keep 30 days worth of backups. So every day when I exit Lightroom, it creates a backup. For you, most of you, I would say once a week. Okay, depending on how much you use Lightroom, and you back up your catalog once a week, back it up so the file originally goes into your desktop, and then you immediately, once you come back from making a cup of tea, whatever you do, you drag that folder onto your external drive. Because when your computer goes down, or when your hard drive fails in your computer, because it will at some point, and I've had a NAS failure in the last 7 days, I've had to rebuild the whole of my 72 terabyte NAS drive. All right. And I have local backups, and I'm still probably about another 14 days away. So I'm working on my backups to keep my work going on my drive. My drives didn't fail. My box failed. I had to put new firmware in the box. So I lost everything on my drive, but because I've got 2 local backups and 1 in the cloud, I knew I hadn't lost anything. So now I'm just rebuilding the drive, copying all the stuff back from back, but that takes time. Okay. It happens to, not if, it's when. So when your machine fails, your drive, your machine fails, you've got that backup on an external drive. Okay. And for you only, if you're going to do it once a week, I'd keep 4 copies and then just delete the old, because that file folder is a date.
Yeah.
So you just delete, just keep 4, delete the last 2 or 3, just keep 4 and 3, and just keep doing that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but keep it on an external drive. Okay. On my external drive. Then your next question is, are you backing up your photographs? How do you back up your photographs?
I back up daily anyway onto another, another hard drive. But
so you have an additional copy.
But then I've started doing it on another drive, just all the photos and the Lightroom catalog.
Yeah. So you're only as good as your backups. So I have my Drobo, it's my main drive, but then I have two backups that I back up, and then I have it in the cloud. Now, if you're an Adobe Amazon Prime customer, Amazon Prime customer, you get unlimited storage of your photos in the cloud.
Do you? Oh.
Yep. Download the photo app. you get unlimited storage in the cloud. It takes frigging ages to upload them because it's free. Okay.
How do you upload them then?
Okay, so there's a little plugin. You go to the Amazon website, download Amazon Photo. You download the little plugin. I helped Mrs. Clark do it the other week.
Amazon.
You just tell it the location of your drive, and everything on that drive in photos, it backs up for free, and it does raw files. You only get 5 gig of videos, but realistically, all you want it to do is chug away and upload them and leave. And you leave your computer on, it just chugs away and uploads them, and you've got a copy of them in the cloud.
I might have to phone you on that one.
Yeah. Amazon Photo. It's totally, if you're an Amazon Prime customer, it's totally free, and it supports raw files.
Yeah.
Nikon and Canon and Sony and Fuji at DNG, CR2, NES, all the rest of it, supports a lot. And it just chugs away. And because it's a free service, it's what they call throttle back. So their foot's on the hose pipe. It sends, I don't know, every 5 minutes it sends a picture.
I'm going to ask you again, but where did you get it from, this Amazon Photo?
Just type into Google Amazon Photo.
That's it then, okay.
Yeah. Just type in Amazon Photo app or something like that, and it'll take you straight to the Amazon site, and you just log in, download the app. It does everything for you, and then all you've got to tell it is where they're from.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a couple of tick boxes, all my photos and videos. Well, I would suggest you don't do your videos, just do your photos.
Yeah.
And if you just say the whole of my computer, it'll go and find every single photo or every single picture on your computer.
Okay, I'll do that.
But what I've done is I've selected the drive. I've say every single photo on this drive, and it's uploaded the whole drive. And that's why I
understand drives. So.
Well, your NAS drive, your C drive, your D drive.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your drive. So that's why I've got on my drives, I've got a folder. It says Adobe, Lightroom Classic, and then all my photos are in there as a tree.
Yeah.
So all folders, yeah. So that one that says Lightroom Classic, I've told the Amazon app, anything that's in Adobe, Lightroom Classic folder, anything below that, stick in the cloud. And that's what it's been doing. It's been sticking. But I use a service. I pay £5 a month, something like that, called Backblaze. And basically, it just copies everything on the computer and puts it in the cloud. But there's no storage limit, and it's any file, no storage limit, and no throttling back. And it's Backblaze. And all you do is you add the app, that's it, you leave it, and it runs. And I pay an extra, I think it's an extra £1 something a month. I pay for it over 3 years. I do a 3-year price and it brings it down, but a monthly price is about £4 a month. And I pay the extra £1 something, and it keeps all my data for a year. Okay. So what it's doing, it's creating what they call a RAID system. It copies what I've got on my computer and makes a duplicate in their servers. They've got 15 or so data centers around the world, and they split up your images across these data centers. So if they ever got hacked, they haven't got all your information. It's all in different data centers around the world. It's another level of their security. Each individual file is digitally fingerprinted, it's called. When you move files on your computer, so you move them from one folder to another, it doesn't re-upload them. It looks at that fingerprint and then just moves it in their server. So it's not uploading and downloading, It's quite intelligent. All right. It stores your data for 30 days. And if you delete something on the 30th day, it will delete it off their server. So you've got a 30-day window. You can pay, which I do, the £1.80 something extra a month, and mine's a whole year. Okay, so it stores everything for a whole year. I'm on a yearly cycle, day by day. Okay, So I can go back and I can change the dates and go back in time and go, there's the file. It got corrupted or I deleted it by mistake 3 months ago. And I can download the file and put it back. Okay. Very little money for what it is. It's £5 a month, basically. All my files are there for even if I delete a file, it stays in my history for a year, 364 days.
Why do you do that if you've got them all in cloud? Because clouds have them there forever, don't it?
It's the cloud. Oh. It's a different service. See, Adobe Creative Cloud is a different service to what Backblaze is. You know, I've got 70 terabytes. Adobe would never give me 70 terabytes of storage space. Mm. Okay? But your need is different to what my need is.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's why I use Amazon. You're a social photographer, use Amazon. Okay? Mm. It doesn't cost anything. The drawback is it takes a long time to get all your backup up there. Okay? Yeah. If you use Backblaze, I do, cost you £60 a year, roughly. It's a lot quicker. There's no limit. It takes all types of files, all videos, everything, and so on, backs up the whole computer. Okay. And it's like having a backup for a whole year. In my case, the average customer is, if you don't pay the extra, is 30 days. So if you delete a file, go, oh shit, I deleted that file. I shouldn't have done that yesterday. Oh, bugger, I made a big cock up there. You go into your backup, Backblaze backup, set the date back 2 days or whenever it was a week ago. There's the file. You download it.
After a year, do they delete them or what?
Yeah. In my case, it's a year. Yes. Yeah, it's called a history version, and Dropbox do a similar thing. Dropbox do a history version as well now. So, and you can have 1, 2, 3, 5 terabytes with them. But Backblaze is unlimited and not throttled back. So whatever your internet speed will allow, it will transmit and they will receive it. So if you're one of these lucky people in Western Supermare that have got a 1 giganet Virgin, haven't you, Bobby? You got that ultra fast broadband connection with Virgin, haven't you?
Oh, we've got rid of it.
Oh, have you? You've only had it 5 minutes.
No, we haven't. There were problems with it.
All right, okay. Who else has got one of these super fast broadbands? No?
No. It wasn't that super fast. It's supposed to be, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It's
plus that's more reliable.
Well, that's OpenReach, so yeah, so it's basically if you've got an 80 meg connection, it's OpenReach on a copper cable, and to the end of the road, the maximum you'll get is 80 meg and 20 meg. 20 meg upload and 80 meg download.
Copper. We are online.
Yeah, you're fiber to the cabinet, aren't you?
Fiber to the cabinet, yes.
Yeah, and then from the cabinet to you, are you fiber or copper?
Fiber.
You're fiber, okay. So your line will support up to a 1 gigabit connection. Then it's what or who are you going to pay it to? So my mate, remember Mick came to us on a Wednesday night a few weeks ago, talked about Photo Frame. He's got BT fiber to property 1 gigabit internet connection. His upload speed is 300 megabytes. Download speed is, I don't know, 1 gigabit or something stupid. Now, he downloads a whole 4K DVD movie in like 3 seconds. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
I've been with PlusNet for some time now.
Yeah.
And they're doing us fine.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, nothing could be different, though, from TalkTalk, which is a lot of rubbish.
Well, we'll ask you when you're in Ireland what it's like.
What, TalkTalk or PlusNet?
Yeah, PlusNet.
I'll have to see what they've got over there because I can connect to theirs.
Yeah, okay.
It's all to do with family anyway. So
yeah, I understand that. So, guys, anyone got any Lightroom questions?
Sure, we have.
All done?
No, I think you've done well enough tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we'll probably just do one more week then of cloud because I've done a lot more than what I thought I was going to do tonight in the time span. So So next week we'll just finish the last bit of cloud off. We'll go back through this again if we need to, just finish the last bit, but it's, just allows you to have the raw files. So we're going to look at sharing files. So perhaps you want to give somebody, I've been giving somebody some raw files recently. Well, a web browser doesn't like them and so on. So how do you share them? Okay, all these type of things. You have this already. You're paying for it. Use it. Let's use it within Classic and then get those raw files out to people rather than just a smart preview JPEG file. Or it could be a high-res JPEG. Okay?
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you all. Stay safe.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Take care. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.